Perfectionists, we know them. We may be one of them. They cross all their T's, they dot every I, but striving for perfection can oftentimes leave people feeling unhappy and unfulfilled.
It's something that we don't often think about because perfectionists appear to be very accomplished. But author and clinical psychologist Dr. Elizabeth Lombardo says that's just not so. She joins us now with more about her new book, Better Than Perfect, 7 Strategies to Crush Your Inner Critic, and of course, just love the life that you lead. Love that. Thank you so much, Dr. Lombardo, for being with us this morning. We appreciate it. Tell us, first of all, what is a perfectionist, and why do, when we hear that word, some people sit back and say, I'm not one, or I want to be one?
Yeah. So a perfectionist is an all or nothing thinker. Something's either good or it's bad. And we know a lot of people like that in our lives. But it goes even bigger than that, because it's something like, oh, I had one cookie and screwed up my diet. I might as well have the whole plate. That's perfectionistic thinking. And so it really affects not only how happy we are, but also our relationships, our health, and even our work.
Sure. And you talk about the 7 strategies to crush your inner critic. We can't get to them all, but what are a couple?
Yeah, so one of them is fail forward. We're so afraid as a society to fail. And I say it's not failure, it's data. Look at what happened that gave you the outcome that you didn't want and take the steps that you can to change your present and future.
So many times you need to fail so that you can succeed.
Completely.
It's so funny because we were just talking in the commercial break just about being a perfectionist. Sometimes I look at people like that and it's just like too much energy and I just kind of walk away, but they're really kind of struggling inside.
It is so stressful because they think something has to be perfect or else it's a failure, and perfectionists take it one step further, and if it's a failure, then I'm a failure. So they're constantly judging themselves, and when you judge yourself, you judge everybody
else
around
around
you.
you.
So is this something that's more prevalent in today's world than ever, and if so, why is that?
Yeah, it definitely is more prevalent now, and I think one of the reasons is we tend to really compare ourselves to other people. Facebook is a great example.
Sure.
You look at Facebook and everybody has perfect families, and perfect vacations. That's not real life. That's a snapshot of their life. But a lot of times people will compare themselves to the other, people in their group, and they think, I don't stack up.
And what happens on social media is when somebody doesn't like you quick enough or you don't get the likes that you want.
What does it say
what's
about
wrong with me?
I'm such a loser. Again, that all or nothing thinking. That's perfectionistic. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when do you start having this conversation with our children about trying to not to be a perfectionist? Because, of course, we know.
Well, we know, but
we
don't
always
right
practice it.
We don't know. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. And I think there's a difference between perfectionism and striving for excellence. We're certainly not saying, go for a C+, right? That's not what we're saying.
Exactly.
We're saying go for the A, and when you don't get it, that's okay. We're looking at your moral character. Being honest, applying your values and strengths is so much more important than getting an A+ or being on varsity.
And it's so funny because that's what I tell my children. I mean, who would not want their children to have all A's? But as long as I see you trying. You're trying and you get it. You get a B, you get a C, even if you get it, but you tried.
And what else we find in the research is that things like resiliency and perseverance are much better predictors of success for our children than A's or getting into Harvard.
Sure. Here's the book, Better Than Perfect, Dr. Elizabeth Lombardo. And I love the quote on the back of the book. How about this? Shaquille O'Neal says, Dr. Lombardo is my head coach for happiness. Wow, that's cool.
Who has a bigger smile than
You and Shaq,
That's it. And I also love, because you can pick, everybody at home can find the books on your website or find it at Barbara's Bookstores here in Chicago there
go local.
in the West Loop. But you also have like a little quiz that you have for everybody to take inside, just about professionalism, personal lives, relationships, all that stuff. And some of these questions.
I'm afraid to take the quiz.
Yeah, a lot of people don't even realize that they are a perfectionist because they don't have the neat junk drawer. Perfectionism is so much more broad than that.
And it's okay to say, I don't want to be perfect. I don't want to be.
Do you want to be perfect or do you want to be happy?
I want to be.
There you go.
There you go. Thank you so much.
Dr. Lombardo, always good to see you.
Good to be here.
Good to see you.
All
Love
right.
your shoes.
Better than perfect.
There you go.